Hi, I'm Andy and welcome to my channel about crypto. In today's video I want to talk about the current market situation, recent Bitcoin's price movements and a few altcoins I'm currently interested in. So let's have a look at Bitcoin's chart first. So this time we're actually looking at Bitcoin's chart on the weekly time frame rather than daily. And that's because weekly close yesterday was very important. Bitcoin actually closed just below its 8-week SMA, 8-week moving average, which is this blue line on the chart. And as you can see, the close was just below that. It was 58,600 or so, and 8-week SMA is around 69,100. So it's literally a few $100s. However, in the past, whenever Bitcoin closed below 8-week SMA, it was an indication that the price would then go down, and in fact, we would often go down to test Bitcoin's bull market support band, which is 20-week SMA, and that's the purple line on the chart. So if this plays out this time as well, we can expect potentially a drop in price of Bitcoin around, well, if we assume that current level is around 58,500, we can expect a drop of approximately 12%. So we may not necessarily get exactly to the bull market support band, but certainly pretty close to it. So I would expect that drop around 10% is quite likely at this point. Of course, it's by no means guaranteed, but I decided this time to play it safe, or not, depending how you look at it. And I actually decided to cash out a small part of my Bitcoin's position, and I'm waiting to see what will happen over the next few days. If this scenario will play out, well, we will know it within literally the next few days, certainly within this week or so. And if we go back to daily candles, last time when we were looking at it, so in last week's video, we were somewhere here, and I was actually speculating that this may be the beginning of a next move up. I was wrong. The price in fact dipped. Basically, what I was expecting is something similar to this pattern here, or even maybe something here. So essentially another peak, but at the moment it looks like, if anything, well, we have a bit of a correction. And then if the scenario I just described plays out, well, we will have quite a substantial correction and a retest of the bull market support band. Bitcoin certainly is on a bit of a downtrend at the moment. Whether this will continue or not, well, it remains to be seen. As I said earlier, as I'm expecting this dip, as I think there's quite high likelihood of this dip, I decided to cash out part of my Bitcoin's position, and well, I will either buy back later, or if I'm completely wrong and in fact Bitcoin bounces up and the price starts going up, well, I'll just simply put this money in ETH, Cardano, or maybe some of the other coins, which I will actually discuss in this video a little bit later. Other than that, well, ETH broke its impressive move up. We discussed this over the last couple of weeks actually, that ETH had this really nice trajectory, quite steady, but certainly going up at a pretty good pace. Well, of course, that now is broken, and the reason for that was the correction of the price of Bitcoin. So I think essentially ETH will largely follow Bitcoin's movements, and if of course we have another big correction coming as I speculated earlier today, well, then price of ETH will likely dip and we may see something around $3,500. ADA continues going sideways, and if anything, slightly down. And like I said before quite a few times now, I don't expect much from ADA until well into 2022, until the whole Cardano ecosystem actually is developed a bit more and gains more utility, gains more momentum. I think we'll then see amazing things from ADA, but until then, well, I'm just staking my ADA, and yeah, there isn't really much happening there. There isn't really much to report. What I think is quite interesting though is the cryptocurrency market overall So we are still sitting at around $2.7 trillion. So still pretty good volume. Bitcoin's dominance is still around 40%. But while the market is largely red, what I find interesting is that a lot of gaming coins are actually showing completely opposite trend. What we are seeing essentially is crypto gaming largely decoupling from the price of Bitcoin. So while in the past we would often see that while Bitcoin goes down, it drags all alts with it, essentially the whole market tanks. Right now, of course, this is still happening to a large degree, but we also start seeing that certain parts of cryptocurrency market start detaching from Bitcoin and from Bitcoin's price movements. And if anything, we may even see completely opposite movements. So I think that's potentially a really good way of diversifying your portfolio and essentially hedging your bets. If Bitcoin, ETH, all the usual altcoins go down, well, you can have your gaming coins, which are likely to go up in short term. And then if the projects are solid, well, the true utility and the true value of those altcoins is likely to only become apparent in the months and years to come. So a lot of them, they may be going a bit up right now because of speculation, but when the time comes, when they actually release the product, or when the product is improved, or whatever is the particular case, the price is then likely to absolutely skyrocket. So what coins I'm looking at the moment? Well, I think Veracity is quite an interesting one. It's essentially a protocol and a product layer platform for esports and video entertainment. So I think it's a kind of project that is likely to perform very well. I think it's a type of project which is likely to be very solid in the long term. So it's not just a short-term bet and opportunity to quickly get in, make some profit and get out. I think this has potential to be a pretty solid long-term hold. And I mentioned this before, that as crypto market overall is maturing and as crypto gaming and metaverse are developing into a bigger and bigger thing, I think what we may see is, while crypto market in general goes bearish, actually some of those projects, gaming projects with large utility, they may go completely against the trend because the utility behind them is not essentially based purely on speculation, if that makes sense. So this is one project I'm bullish on. Market cap is reasonably low, 270 million. All-time high was around 8.6 cents, so it's around 30% down right now. So it's a pretty good buying opportunity. In my opinion, definitely project worth considering. Like I said, project which may pump quite nicely short term, but I would be particularly bullish for this in mid to longer term, so months or potentially even years. Another one is Polka City, which I've mentioned a couple of times on this channel. I invested in it before. I added to my position recently, or I added to my position a couple of times, in fact, most recently, I think last week. Still very low market cap, around 65 million. It combines, well, essentially all the trendy stuff, so metaverse and NFTs. So I think it has a lot of potential. All-time high was $2.83, so it's still over 40% down. So again, pretty decent buying opportunity. This one I'm very bullish on. Like I said, I keep adding to my position. My initial position was quite small, and I keep adding in small chunks, but I think this one will do really, really well. Another one I invested in recently, this one is a bit more of a diligence play, and it's a high risk project. So I would only put money in that you are prepared to lose potentially. And the reason why I'm saying this is because of an extremely low market cap. It's just above $3 million. So of course, with such low market cap, it doesn't take much to move the price quite substantially. The all-time high was around 1.4 cents and it's now around 90% down. So I think it's a brilliant buying opportunity. Essentially what happened earlier is, if we look at the 90-day chart, I think it was Alex Becker who mentioned it in one of his videos when the market cap was around 500,000, and of course, well, that then resulted in this massive pump, or that caused this massive pump. And as the price now corrected quite substantially, I think it's only a matter of time that some big influencer will mention it again and it will jump up massively. So it is a bit of a gamble, but I think it may be worth it. And the project itself, well, it's essentially an oracle on the Avalanche ecosystem. So it's something I mentioned quite a few times in my previous videos. Whenever an ecosystem is pumping, and if we look at the current chart, AVAX is doing really well at the moment. So yeah, it's currently at, well, just shy of $30 billion. And if we look at the chart, it's been performing really well in the last few months, and it pumped quite a bit recently, of course. A lot of people are extremely bullish on it. A lot of people think that it will still easily double or triple from this price. But like I said in many videos before, what you want to do is not necessarily jump into the coin that's at the core of the ecosystem, but rather the projects that are built within that ecosystem. So things like oracles, dexes, launchpads, and so on, because these projects will have much lower market caps and therefore far bigger potential for growth. Like I said, if you invest in AVAX now, you will probably still do comfortable 2 to 3x, but well, I mean, you can do 2 to 3x investing in Bitcoin, and that's going to be far lower risk and better long-term hold potentially. So essentially, if I'm investing in something else than Bitcoin, I expect to get more than 3x return on my investment, because otherwise I would just put that money in Bitcoin. So that's why I think that something like Morphe, which is an oracle within the AVAX ecosystem, is potentially a good project to invest in. And something with such a low market cap has a ton of potential for growth. This can easily do another 10x, 20x or more. But of course, it's also a pretty high risk coin. So just to sum up this video, I think what's really important at the moment is looking closely at the price of Bitcoin over the next few days. If it stays around 59,000 and starts moving up a bit, I think there's then pretty good chance that we may have a breakout and it may actually go up in value. If, however, it breaks below that 59,000 level, well, at the moment it's bouncing around 58,000. I'm talking about more significant move down, sort of 57, 56 and so on. Then it's very likely, I think, that we'll get down to around 50k, and I would be certainly preparing for that. And of course, as Bitcoin will go down, it will take most of the prices down as well. I think a lot of gaming coins will hold up pretty well, or they may stagnate a bit. But a lot of other projects may go down, so that will represent some really good buying opportunities. And in terms of those projects, like I said, I'm looking at Veracity, I'm looking at Polka City, Morphe. I think these are some of the, at least in my opinion, some of the best bets at the moment. Another project I'm actually looking at, which is far lower risk, is Moonriver. And if it turns out that I was wrong with Bitcoin and actually the price of Bitcoin stays stable at around the current level and then starts going up, rather than buying back Bitcoin at a higher price point that I sold it for, I will probably put that money into something like Moonriver. So Moonriver is essentially, it's a parachain on a Kusama, and it's fully Ethereum compatible. It's been performing really well in the past. it's still a bit down from its previous all-time high, but it's much larger market cap than most coins I usually invest in. So I think it's a much safer bet. And I'll be potentially looking at buying either just Moonriver or a couple of other projects of similar type, rather than getting back into Bitcoin. Essentially, I wouldn't buy Bitcoin at a higher price than I sold it for. It makes no sense. So I need to then get into something that's reasonably safe, because Bitcoin is sort of my safe investment, but at the same time something that has a potential to go up more in value than Bitcoin. So I think that's it for today. The most important thing is keep an eye on Bitcoin price for the next few days, see what happens, and it will either go up or down from this point, but those next few days are very important for it, and I think it will be quite clear. I don't think we'll continue going sideways around 58k for the next few days. I think we'll see either move up or down, and if it's down, I don't think it will be just by a couple of thousand. I think we'll then revisit that 50k level, and if it's up, then well brilliant, and potentially we are on the next leg up. So yes, that's it from me for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you like the content, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.